Hope everybody had a terrific weekend, had an excellent Sunday, and to an overwhelming majority of my audience, hopefully you guys had a terrific Independence Day. And yeah, the stories that were coming out yesterday about people's hot takes on the day, we're not going to look at a whole hell of a lot of them because there are just so many Velcro shoe wearing, helmet bedecked, Mo Howard haircut having motherfuckers out there that this would take an hour and a half to go through everybody's takes. Like, these motherfuckers, I don't think they could have found a bus short enough to get to the fireworks display for them to be there. I mean, like, we got Alyssa Milano here who's running for fucking Congress, if you can believe it. If you guys don't know who that is, it's a perfect example of a great waste of a decent rack. And what is she known for? I don't know, pushing some fucking knockoff NFL gear a couple years back. Nah, she was the fucking middle bitch on Charmed, I think. Middle? I don't know. She's the one that drove Rose McGowan to become a full-time Sinead O'Connor impersonator. No, but she's got the fucking... it's kind of just the basic bitch hot take that came out yesterday, that everything that makes the United States great, if it ever was or if it ever could be, I don't know, this is their logic, is all because of unjust treatment of people of color. Because slavery, it only happened once, and it was only in America, and it was only ever black people getting suppressed. No. Alyssa here, if she wanted to take a look at her last name, if that is indeed her last name, Milano, it looks very, very spaghetti, if we're going to be fair. And all you need to do is just take a look at the history of Italy. Just walk it back a couple of centuries, and then what do you got? Holy Roman Empire? Yeah, no, they definitely did not partake in any sort of slavery there. No, so definitely, she's not the ancestors of somebody who would have benefited directly from slavery. You see how fucking stupid all of this shit is? But yeah, it's not nearly as dumb as the take that she had out there. On Independence Day, actress turned activist and now congressional hopeful Alyssa Milano trashed America as a nation founded on the unjust treatment of Native Americans, Africans, and other people of color. What, Aztecs? Think that they built the fucking Statue of Liberty? Like, this bitch is that fucking dumb. Milano's embedded text on a TikTok video. Nothing quite screams freedom like an app sponsored by the CCP. Reminder of the United States was founded on the unjust treatment of Native Americans, Africans, and other people of color. Fucking very grammatically apropos for you. Later in the same video, Milano wrote, "Patriotism is wanting the country you love to live up to its potential." That it is. It's something that you don't partake in, but at least you know the proper boundaries that most of these people are looking for. Also on July 4th, she tweeted a quote by American abolitionist Frederick Douglass from a pre-Civil War era when slavery was still legal in the United States. Frederick Douglass, great man, and I don't know if he nearly gets as much play out there as he should, but at the same time, he was, being smeared by the Democrats as being one of the original Uncle Toms, because they're all racist. What to the slave is the 4th of July, the sunlight that brought life and healing to you has brought stripes and death to me. This 4th of July is yours, not mine. You may rejoice, I must mourn. Frederick Douglass, pre-abolition. She went on later to complain about her neighborhood being too gentrified by tweeting out some quotes from Adolf Hitler's Mein Kampf. But anyways, moving on to somebody else who is super oppressed. At least has some shoes that are super compressed because she a big fat bitch. Cori Bush doubles down on July 4th bashing end the healthcare, housing, and education apartheid. I don't think you'd want to do that because your people would be disproportionately affected. Representative Cori Bush doubled down Sunday after deeming Independence Day a celebration of freedom from white people. Interesting. Only claiming black people still aren't free while calling to end police violence. Wonder if she's heard of the story of Hunter Britton. Anyways, and the healthcare, housing, and education apartheid. You're really working hard because your boss at the end of the day was one of those guys who really was trying so hard to make sure that those buses stayed black and white. So perhaps you should start with cleaning up your own party first. But yeah, no, that's not what these fucking mongoloids are on about. Bush made waves July 4th after claiming the freedom celebrated on Independence Day only applies to white people. Once again, another person who doesn't know how to crack open a history book, but can sure crack open a 2-pack of Twinkies. We know what our freedom looks like, she continued. End the slavery permitted under the 13th Amendment. End the war on drugs. End police violence. Are you retarded? You'd think an elected official would know a little bit more about the Constitution than just, I don't know, some Canadian in fucking northern Alberta, but you'd be mistaken. Anyways, the 13th Amendment to the Constitution abolished slavery and involuntary servitude except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted. If you want further clarification on that and how to strategically break that, just go and talk to the vice president. She's very, very crafty at working around that one right there. And healthcare, housing, and education apartheid, she said before asserting, we are the experts on our own liberation, and we won't stop until it's won. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you could fix all of these problems, all of your own problems, and you'd have yourself a much better life. Oh, but you don't want to take any responsibility for any of your actions. Oh, okay, I get it. You just want to grandstand and fucking cause a big fuss. And that's why we're not going to be looking at all of the other really fucking room IQ temperature takes out there. Because, yeah, Maxine Waters said something infinitely stupid as well, but it's also a day that ends in Y. When doesn't she fucking do that? And this is just a plea for attention, because who the fuck is Cori Bush at the end of the day? She's a first-term Congress thing, amorphous blob, has really done nothing except for try to make sure that the people who had the audacity to vote against the certification of votes on January 6th are expelled and strung up and fucking locked away forever in a day. But what else does she do? Nothing. She hasn't fucking wrote up any sort of worthwhile legislation. She's just here to bitch and moan and fucking raise her own brand, her own name recognition value so that she can just fucking latch onto that government tit and fucking ride this fucking train all the way to the end until she requires 2 seats in the House. No, but if we're going to talk about people that are being unjustly prisoned, okay, why don't we talk about January 6th, okay? I'm sure there are some people of color in there. Yeah, no, there's one right up there at the front. Yeah, you could go ahead and you could champion this cause if you want, bitch. January 6th, detainees confined 23 hours a day, attorneys say. Yeah, put in solitary confinement. We heard about how John Schaefer, the founder and former guitarist of Iced Earth, was treated. Solitary confinement, 7 days a week for months on end. He spent there only to receive a plea deal of, well, what eventually got worked down to being aggressive finger pointing. A fucking misdemeanor. And you know how many other people are currently locked up or have been charged as well? Over 400 charges have been laid on individual people, okay? And what are they charged with? Murder, assault, arson, vandalism. Trespassing at best. I don't know, not following lawful orders. The shit like that. Dozens detained in federal prison awaiting trial following the January 6th breach of the Capitol building are being subject to solitary confinement, a lack of required medical care, and restricted access to defense counsel, according to 2 attorneys and a father of the defendant. Lawyers John Pierce and Stephen Metcalf II, who represent several of the defendants, told The Nation Speaks that among the close to 500 arrested so far in connection with the January 6th incident, more than 50 are being held pretrial in solitary confinement for 23 hours a day in conditions that are unconstitutional and violate every single basic human right. This is the type of treatment you'd expect for murderers, rapists, politicians, but not for people who, at the end of the day, really didn't do anything. They gave the media a nice photo op. They're giving Nancy Pelosi something to run on and an excuse to rewrite history. But outside of that, what kind of lingering effects did they really do to the Capitol building? A couple of broken windows? Okay, cool. You put a couple of window repair places to fucking work for a couple of days. Okay. You couldn't even put any janitors on fucking overtime because they went in there and they cleaned everything up afterwards. So yeah, no, obviously lock up guys with fucking MAGA hats because they're the ones who ain't gonna be fucked with in jail. What the fuck is going on here? But yeah, no, according to Cori Bush too. Oh yeah, America's not free for black people. people of color or whatever she was trying to champion. Who gives a shit? It's just also funny coming from somebody who's holding elected office. Perhaps it's just a one-off. Perhaps there's no other stupid, idiotic woman of color out there who might even have a couple of bit more medals for the Oppression Olympics out there. Calling the same things. Any criticism of her is like 99% racism. That's a hot take by this next one. Yeah, I think you know who we are talking about, and that's Mayor of Chicago, Lori Lightfoot, who runs her own city poorly, incredibly so. Thinks that any criticism against her is illegitimate and openly has racist policies. And this is what you get. This is what you get. 14 dead and 80 shot over July 4th weekend. You're free. You're free to get shot by fucking gangbangers on the south side of Chicago. And the housing apartheid and education, healthcare, all of that type of stuff. Is that what you want? Yeah. You want your fucking segregation come to an end? That self-imposed segregation that you'd rather institute it with? That's what this ends up with. You have your black neighborhoods, you have your Puerto Rican neighborhoods, you have your Mexican neighborhoods, your little Polish enclaves, and none of them in between shall mix. That's what these idiots want. They just want to keep pitting people against one another. You just stay in your little spot, okay? You have your neighborhood. You stay in your neighborhood. And then when something bad happens, oh yeah, we'll just tell you that it's the other neighborhoods that did something bad, and then you can go and retaliate against them. It's been the same fucking cycle forever and ever and ever. But thankfully, I'm thinking more people are starting to wake up to this bullshit. Because, yeah, I've seen these fucking room temperature IQ takes, and it's nothing I didn't see coming, okay? Mostly because everything, yeah, that was revolving around Canada Day as well. And then in the past few years as well, Christopher Columbus, he was just a genocidal murderer and we're going to have to remove his name. Everybody knew eventually they were going to come for Independence Day, okay? It just got expedited because Biden's the most popular president of all time. I still think it's going to get a little bit worse before it gets better. I just hope it doesn't get as bad as south side of Chicago. Hopefully it doesn't get as bad as Canada. Like, we're not out here shooting each other, mostly because our dear leader took away all the fucking big scary black rifles. Because heaven forbid a criminal has a gun and then he wants to help himself to all your stuff that you have behind your locked door. But yeah, that's why I think the Fonz actually has a pretty prescient take on this one. He might mean it a little bit differently because he is also, well, of course he's an actor, so it goes without saying he's a dyed-in-the-wall Democrat. But like I said here, we are so divided as a country, only a cataclysmic event that makes us depend on one another can bring us back together. I don't think that he's wrong. Like, in the past 20 years, when was the time when everybody seemed to start coming together? Right after 9/11. Okay, I heard stories about that. I was only, what was that, September? Yeah, so I was 11 at the time. But I remember people singing and sporting events. Everybody seemed to start flying the American flag regardless of your political affiliation. Everybody was all focused on one common enemy. We all came together, even as Canadians, because we had your guys' back on this stuff. Going after that one common effort, or that one common enemy, because we all had the same underlying value of freedom and togetherness. And then again, most recently, it was probably that little brief time between 15 days to flatten the curve and the ascension of St. Floyd to that great fentanyl factory in the sky. Okay? All of the rhetoric around, oh, America's such a racist country, that started all slip to the fucking side, and then everybody trying to own the libs online, that just all kind of fell down, and we were just all trying to figure out what the fuck is going on here. And it really looked like all of those blue-haired land whales, they were just going to start fucking calming down and maybe trying to get to the bottom of this kind of stuff. Because eventually that cat food's going to run out, and they're going to have to go out there and fucking brave the brand new scary world. And then Pete out there in the fucking boondocks, he's going to have to eventually go get some replacement copper wire because that old still ain't going to run for as long as possible. Like, it started to come together, and then all of the racism, just like it was just waiting, like it was coming back and it was setting a coil and then just come full fucking blow. And now we're here. And now we're here. And like, I don't know, like, how far are we going to have to go? Is it going to be a foreign invasion? Is it going to be somebody fucking coughing up a storm, takes over a fucking half-empty Delta flight because he has the coof and flies it into something before we all start to realize that most of this stuff is complete and utter horseshit and the real dog dicking that we're all taking collectively in the ass, coming from the powers that be that just want to continue to pit us against one another. I don't know. Hopefully we don't have to get to this cataclysmic event, but that was the only time that I seen that there was any sort of unity happening that organically happened. Not this fucking return to normalcy trademark that's going on right now. Build back better. Yeah. At the expense of the middle class. But let's dig into what's happening in Canada, because we actually have some good news to report, because censorship looks like it's going to be taking a little bit longer, and you got to take the victories when you can get them up here. With that said, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Catch y'all later.